Welcome back to Pilates by Brianna. For today's workout, we will be using our magic circle as well as the Pilates box. We're going to be getting started with footwork. So on my balanced body machine, that's 3 heavy red, 1 medium blue. I have my foot bar in the up position. Your choice of headrest up or down, whatever is your preference. I also have a pad on the platform. We will be putting our forearm on the platforms for some side planks. So up to you if you have something that you can put there, it might be a bit more comfortable. That's the only thing. So go ahead, get your equipment, get the reformer set up, and then we'll get started.
Grab your circle and come to lay down on your backs, heels on the bar, hip distance apart. Headrest can be up or down. You're going to find your neutral spine. Feet will be flexed towards you, arms up towards the ceiling. Begin pressing out through the heels as you press into the circle and bend the knees and come on in. Exhale to press out. Inhale back in. As you exhale out, you're squeezing into the circle. Warming up our whole body. Spine is in neutral. Thinking of pressing through the heels to initiate the movement through the glutes and the back of the legs. Bring the carriage halfway in, little pulses with the carriage and into the circle. Up an inch, down an inch, little presses into the circle. Almost there. Exhale to press all the way out. Inhale to bring it back in. You'll put the arches on the bar. Bend the elbows. As you press the carriage out, you're going to straighten the elbows up towards the ceiling and then bend them as you bring the carriage back in. As you straighten the elbows, you're slightly pressing into the circle. So we're doing a tricep press here as you bend the knees. Press out and then come halfway in for those pulses again. Pulses with the carriage and gently pressing into the circle. Elbows will be bent. Exhale to press all the way out. Inhale, bring the carriage on in. Bring the toes on the bar, heels together. You're in your Pilates V, knees in line with the shoulders, circle at your chest. As you press out, you'll punch the arms up. And as you bend the elbows, bend the knees, the elbows will come back in. So we have our Pilates V with a punch up. Press the carriage out and come halfway in for your pulses again. Press the carriage all the way out and then bring it back in. We're going to repeat that, but the circle is going to be around your thighs. So bring the legs through the circle. The padded part will be on your thighs. We'll start with the heels on the bar, pressing the carriage out and in here. You have to stay active through the outer thighs, so that way the circle doesn't move too much on your thigh. Press the carriage out, come halfway in. We're going to begin pressing into the circle. Carriage won't move, you're just pressing the outer thighs into the circle and back to neutral. Feeling the warmth in the legs and feeling some extra work in the outer thighs. Press the carriage all the way out, bring it on in. Arches to the bar and begin pressing the carriage out and in here. Two more times. Last one, and then come halfway in for those pulses. Carriage doesn't move, you're pulsing into the circle. And then press all the way out and back in. We're going to come into our Pilates V, toes on the bar, heels together. And you may notice that you can't press all the way out because otherwise the circle will fall down the leg. So you're going as far out as you can and then coming back in. You're going to feel this a little bit differently, more in the glute rather than the outer thighs because this is working more into our gluteus medius. So just a little change in where you're feeling the muscle activation. Press all the way out, come halfway in, and then those pulses again, keeping the heels together, staying that Pilates V position, pressing into the circle and then releasing. And then press the carriage all the way out and bring it on in. You can take the legs out of the circle, drape the legs over the bar, roll on up for a spring change. You're going to have on one heavy red spring, take off all the other springs. So you just have one heavy red and then roll back down. We'll place the circle between the ankles and pick up just the left strap. We're going to do our mid-back series in single arm today. Arm will go up towards the ceiling, legs and tabletop. We'll start with our pull downs. You're maintaining connection between the shoulder blades and the carriage. Elbow is straight. You're using the lats to pull the arm straight down to the carriage and then control it back up. One more like this. And then if you would like to add on, as you pull down, you're going to straighten out the legs, pause, squeeze into the circle, and then the arm will go back up towards the ceiling and you'll bend the knees. So as you pull down, you'll straighten the legs, hold, squeeze the circle, bend the knees, arm up towards the ceiling. 2 more like this. Last one. And then you'll bend the elbow, keep the legs in tabletop, and we'll go right into our triceps. So bending and straightening the elbow, legs in tabletop. Last one. And then we'll add on that leg variation. So as you straighten the elbow, you'll straighten the leg, squeeze into the circle, bend the knees, bend the elbow. Maintaining stability in the pelvis, so trying not to let the hips get pulled to one side. Last one. And then rest everything down, hang up that left strap, and we'll repeat it on the right. So strap will go in the right hand, arm up towards the ceiling, legs in tabletop. We have 5 pull downs with the legs in tabletop to start, and then we'll add in the legs. 3 more. 2. And 1. And then we'll add in the leg extension. So as you pull down, straighten out the legs, squeeze the circle, and then pull everything back in. 4 more here. This is our last one. And then you'll bend the elbow. Legs will stay in tabletop. We have 5 of the tricep press before we add in the legs. Last one. And then we'll add in our leg extension. Straighten the elbows and the legs at the same time. Squeeze the circle. Bend everything back in. Two more here. 1 more. And rest everything down. Good work, you guys. Hang up the strap, take the circle out. Heels will go wide, and just windshield wiper the legs side to side. Get a little stretch in the low back. And then when you're ready, you can come off the carriage. We'll do a quick lunge stretch, just to stretch into our hip flexors. So place one foot up against the shoulder block. That knee will be down on the carriage. Opposite leg is forward. Bend into that opposite knee, pressing the carriage back. Chest is lifted. Feeling a stretch in the hip flexor on the carriage leg. Bring the carriage in, and we'll switch sides. So same thing on the other side. Carriage knee stays down. Getting a stretch in the opposite hip flexor. Staying here for a few breaths. bring the carriage on in. We'll change the spring to a medium spring, take off the heavy, and lower the headrest, lower the foot bar down. We're going to put the long box on and grab your circle. When the long box is on, you're going to come to sitting on the box, feet on the headrest, facing the risers. Go ahead and get that set up. Pick up the straps. I'm starting with my short loops, and then the circle will go between the hands. We're going to do roll backs here. Arms will go out in front. You'll tuck the tailbone underneath you, finding your posterior pelvic tilt as you begin rolling back as far as you feel comfortable, using your exhale, your core to come back up to your flat back. Elbows are straight the entire time. You are not pulling on the straps to bring yourself back up. The arms are just an extension. It's the abdominals doing the work. We've got one more like this before we add on to it, rolling back. On your inhale, exhale back up. Now you'll scoop and roll back. Hold, arms will go overhead and back to center. And then come all the way back up. So scoop, roll back, pull the arms overhead, back down in front of you, and then roll back up. Nice, slow, controlled movements, focusing on your form. You can always switch to the long loops here if you need to. The shoulders are definitely working, but we don't want strain on the shoulders. So if you're feeling that strain, just bring it down to the long loop. And we have one more like this. Rolling back, pause, arms overhead, back in front, using the abdominals to sit up. For this next one, I'm going to go to my long loops. We're going to roll back, hold in that roll back position. So here we go, rolling back, hold, arms will go overhead, back to center. And we're going to keep going like that. Arms overhead, back to center, maintaining that abdominal engagement. Trunk isn't moving, just the arms are moving, strong through the core. Going for about 10 of these here. Two more to go. Stay strong. Last one. And then come all the way up. Good work. One more thing here in this set. You're going to come to lay on your back on the box, legs and tabletop. We're in a chest lift. Arms are by the knees. We're going into double leg extension. You'll shoot the arms overhead as the legs shoot out, and then pull everything back up, coming a little bit more into your chest lift. So everything will shoot out, then everything will come back in, making a tight ball. We're going for 10 here again. Exhale it all out. Inhale, pull everything back in. Each time you pull everything in, see if you can lift a little bit higher into your chest lift. This is our last one. Pull everything in, and then you can rock up to sitting. Good work. Hang up the straps. Come on off. We're done with the box. So you could place that off to the side, and we're going to be staying on this one medium spring. Come to kneeling. I have my left side closest to the shoulder block. We're going to pick up the front strap, have it in your left hand. Circle will go between the hands. You're sitting back, so your hips are hovering above your heels, and then come up to a tall kneeling as you punch the arms out. As you sit back, you're hovering your butt above the heels, and then come to upright, punching the arms out. For this one, The closer to the foot bar, the more resistance you have. So you can always adjust where you are. Two more to go. Last one. And then we're going to add in a rotation to that. So as you come up, you'll do a press out, hold, rotate to the foot bar, back to center, and then lower the hips to the hover. So come up, press out, rotate, back to center, lower back down. We've got two more. And our last one. You can hang up the strap, and we're going to come into a side plank position. You'll have your right forearm on the platform, knees are bent, circle is in front of you, left hand on the circle. You're going to lift the hips up into a side plank as you press into the circle, and then let the hips dip down. Adjust how you need to. But as you lift the hips, working into that right oblique, you're going to press into the circle, and then you'll let the hips lower back down. So really thinking of cinching your waist, lifting up through that right oblique, keeping the carriage in at the stopper, getting a nice feel of how this is before we add on to it. This is our last one. And then we'll do that same thing, but as you come up, you're going to kick out the top leg in line with the body. So lift the hips up, kick the left leg out, and then lower everything back down. So we're adding in that kick out. Still feeling the right oblique working a lot, and also working into the left outer thighs as well. Next time you straighten out the leg, you'll hold it here and just press into the circle, maintaining a nice isometric side plank, keeping the carriage in at the stopper, and pressing into the circle. And then you'll begin moving the carriage out and in with that right arm. So staying in the side plank, moving the carriage out and in, staying lifted through that right side body. We've got about 10 of these. One more to go, looking good. And then bring the carriage in and rest down. Place the circle just off in front of you. Come up to a mermaid position. Left hand will go to the shoulder blocks. Right arm up and over to get a nice stretch through that right side body and obliques. Chest stays lifted. Should be a really nice stretch after that set. And then come up. You're going to grab your circle and come to face the opposite direction, and we'll repeat that. You're going to pick up the front strap in your right hand. Circle will go between both hands. Lower the hips down to a hover above the heels. And then as you come up to your high kneeling, you'll punch the arms out. Two more. Last one. And then we'll be adding in that rotation. So now you're going to come up as you punch out, pause, rotate to the foot bar, back to center, and then pull everything back in. So you're using that left oblique to rotate. As you rotate to the left, both hips are staying facing forward. So if you had lights on each hip bone, they'll be facing forward the entire time. It's not moving. Last one here. Up, rotate, back to center, and lower. Nice job. Hang up that strap. We'll come to our side plank position. Left forearm on the platform. Knees are bent. Circle is in front of you. Hand on top of the circle. You're going to lift the hips up as you press into the circle and then lower the hips to a hover. So we have our side plank hip dips, trying to keep the carriage in at the stopper. One more to go here. And then we'll be adding in that side kick. So now as you lift the hips up, you're going to straighten that right leg out in line with the body and then bend the knee and everything lowers down. Still nice and strong through that left oblique. Now working into the right abductors, our outer hips, and a little bit into the right oblique as well. Next time you lift the hips, we'll hold it here and begin pressing into the circle. Right leg stays lifted. Nice long line through the body, carriage is in at the stopper. And then begin pressing the carriage out and in with that left arm. Still in that nice line, lifted through that right oblique. You're strong, you're almost there. We're going for about 10 of these. Last time out and in. And rest everything down. Good work. Place the circle just on the floor in front of you. Come into a mermaid stretch. Right hand on the shoulder block, left arm up and over. Feeling a stretch through that left side body. And then you can come on up. We're going to put the one heavy red spring back on. Take off the medium blue. Find your circle. We're going to go into a lunge set. You're going to have the right foot on the platform, left foot, the toes will be on the carriage. The circle is in your left hand on the bar. As you bend into the right knee, you're going to press down into the circle. So as you lunge back, you're pressing into the circle. The left knee stays straight. Slow and controlled. Press out. Think of using that right glute to bring the carriage back in. Two more. Last one, we'll press out, hold it out, keep pressing into the circle, stay in your lunge, bend that left knee to bring the carriage in and press away. So the right knee stays bent. You're using the carriage leg now to pull the carriage in and press it away. Spine is straight, feeling a lot of work in that right glute. We're not rushing through this. We're feeling a bit of a muscle burn and thinking of control. Press the carriage all the way out and bring it on in. You're going to turn to face your side, so that way the right foot is on the platform, left foot is still on the carriage. Circle is in front of you. We're going to start with side splits, so both knees will stay straight as you press out, pause, rotate towards the foot bar, back to center, bring the carriage in. So you'll press out, don't let the carriage move as you rotate to the foot bar, back to center, and control the carriage back in. Using the left outer thigh to keep the carriage steady. Two more to go, pressing out, holding the carriage still as you rotate, really feeling that left leg doing the work to hold the carriage steady. This is our last one, and bring the carriage on in. Arms will go overhead, we'll press out into a side split again, hold it here, and then we're going to side bend over to the risers and back to upright. As you side bend, you're not crunching into that left side, you're leaning up and over. So you're staying long through both the right and the side bodies, keeping the carriage as still as you can. This will be the last one. And then bring the carriage on in. Arms will come down. We're going into our skater. Sit back in a squat. Keep your weight over the right leg as you press the carriage out with the left, squeezing into the circle, and then pulling it back in. So that right knee is bent the entire time. Weight is more towards the heel, so that way you're feeling the glute working. And we're pressing out and in with that left side. As you press out, you're exhaling and squeezing into the circle. Last one here, and pull it in. You're going to put the circle between the ankles. We have one more thing on this side. Let the carriage come out a little bit, and then you're going to pull the carriage in, lifting up through the pelvic floor, making the circle more of an oval. Hold for a pause, and then control it back out, feeling more of the inner thighs working. So pulling that carriage in, feeling the resistance from the circle, and letting the carriage come back out. Two more. This will be the last one. Good work. Take the circle out. You're going to very carefully bring the right leg onto the carriage, and then left foot will go onto the platform. We're facing the foot bar. Circle is on the foot bar, right hand into the circle. And we've got our lunges here. You're going to bend into that left knee as you press the carriage back, keeping that right knee straight. And then think of activating through that left glute to control the carriage back in. So this is a lot of work for the left leg, lunging back, using that left glute to control the carriage back in. Each time you press out, you're also going to be actively pressing into the circle. Next time you press out, hold it out, and then we'll bend into the right knee to bring the carriage in, and then shoot that leg back out. So pressing out and in here with that carriage leg, our left leg is staying in a lunge. So a nice asymmetric hold in our lunge position, feeling a lot of work in that left leg, and then feeling the right quads control the carriage back in and press out. Next time you press out, hold the leg straight, bring the carriage all the way in. Take a quarter turn to your right so the entire left foot is on the platform. Circle will come at your chest. And we've got our side splits. So you're going to press out, pause, rotate towards the left, come back to center, bring the carriage on in. So we have our side split, feeling that right outer hip working to keep the carriage steady as we rotate to the left and back to center. And as you rotate, you can squeeze slightly into the circle. We're going for 10 total, so about 7 more. One more in this variation, pressing out, hold, rotate towards the foot bar, back to center, bring the carriage in. We have another side split. This time the arms will be overhead, press out, hold it out. We'll side bend over to the risers and then come back up to center. We have 10 of these, trying to keep the carriage as steady as you can. Two more, keeping the carriage still. Last one, and bring it on in. And we'll go into our skaters. Come into a squat position. Weight will stay over the left leg as you press the right leg out, squeeze into the circle, and then bend the right knee to bring the carriage back in. So that left knee is bent the entire time. You're maintaining a squat, and you're just pressing the carriage out and in with the right leg. One more time. Bring it on in. And then we're going to put the circle between the ankles for our inner thigh work. So you'll let the circle come to a circle, and then you're going to pull the carriage into the stopper so the circle becomes an oval, and then you'll let it out so that way it's a circle again. So thinking of drawing up through the pelvic floor, using the inner thigh, slight engagement in the core, you're standing up nice and tall to pull the carriage all the way into the stopper. Last one here. And then you can take the circle out. You'll carefully step off backwards with the right leg first. We are done with the circle. You could place it off to the side. We're going to finish with feet and straps. I'm putting on another heavy red, so I have 2 heavy reds, but whatever your feet and strap settings are. And then you can put your feet through the long loops. Headrest can be up and down. We're just going to finish with hip circles. Legs will go up towards the ceiling. Feet are parallel to one another and together. Keep the legs together as you lower them down through center. Circle them away from each other, around and up, and then feet will find each other. So big hip circles here, slowing down our heart rates, getting some mobility in the legs, and a little bit of a stretch through the hamstrings. Next time the legs are overhead, we're going to pause and reverse the direction. So open the legs out wide, pull them around and down, back together at center. Keep them together as you bring them up through center. So we're just reversing the direction of our hip circles, getting some nice lubrication in the hip joint, cooling everything down. Last time around. And then when the legs are overhead, we're going to pause, bend one knee. You can pull on the strap of the straight leg, have the foot flexed towards you for a nice stretch throughout that whole back side, the calf and the hamstrings. Holding it here. And then switch, you'll bend the opposite knee and the other leg will go up towards the ceiling. So we get that same stretch on the other side. And then bend both knees. The bottoms of the feet will come together, knees open up wide, and we'll finish in a butterfly stretch. Slowing your breathing, maybe closing your eyes, and thanking yourself for showing up today. You can take your feet out of the straps. Come on up and you are all set. Thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the workout. If you did, please make sure to subscribe, share, like, comment. I love your feedback and I'll see you next time.